in the Java series is going to be about inheritance and visibility, public, private, protected access modifiers. So let's create a new project, Java. Let's get a main by choosing command line app. It's called inheritance. So let's look at an inheritance hierarchy that we're going to play with. Here it comes. Here we go. Now everything in Java, the topmost class of any hierarchy is object. And of interest is Java object has a toString method. So any object in this hierarchy can override the toString method to describe itself. We'll see that. In this hierarchy, we're going to do animals, and then animals are going to have, under the subclasses under that are going to be vertebrates and invertebrates. And then under vertebrates, there could be birds, reptiles, mammals, fish, and amphibians. And under mammals, we're going to just pick a few: dog, cats, humans. So we're going to create this hierarchy: animals, vertebrate, mammal, dog, cat, human, something like that. Alrighty, let's go ahead and start doing that in Java. So in our source, let's start with a new Java class, and we're going to call it animal. And in Java, if you do not say extends another class, what it does for you under the covers is it says I extend object. Okay, so typing out extends object or leaving it blank, it extends object. Also, in Java, what it does, there's like three things it does under the covers for you. Extends objects, and it also puts an empty constructor in here if you don't put one in. So this class right here, remember this class, public class animal. That is equivalent to extends object and an empty constructor. Boom. And the only other thing that it does under the covers is it calls the super constructor. The first line of any constructor has to be either a call to the super constructor or a call to another constructor. So what we have here is we have public class animal that extends object, and here's an empty constructor, and the first line of the empty constructor is a call to super. That I'll leave in there, but I'm not going to do it for the other classes. Now, animal, we're not going to give it any instance variables or behaviors because I don't want this to go on for days. Next, we're going to create a vertebrate, a new Java class vertebrate. Vertebrate. And vertebrate is going to extend animal. Okay? And again, you have an empty constructor in here that calls super. Oh no. You know, as a matter of fact, I want those constructors. Because I'm going to, here, I'm going to do sysout in animal constructor. Okay? And in vertebrate, let's go ahead and generate an empty constructor. And here I'm going to say I'm in vertebrate constructor. And next, I'm going to do a new Java class mammal. And it's going to extend vertebrate and it's not going to have an empty constructor. Let's go ahead. Let's give it a couple of states. We're going to say private Boolean furry equals false. That's the default, by the way. If you don't put in equals false, that's the default value that I'll get. But I'll put it in here just to be obvious. And protected string saying equals nothing, an empty string. And let's go ahead and generate a constructor for this. And the only thing I'm going to let them set is furry, the private one. Okay, so in this constructor, it's taking one parameter, furry. And as I mentioned before, that this furry parameter is shadowing or hiding this furry instance variable. And on line 11, what we do is we say the furry parameter, the right-hand side, set the furry instance variable, this.furry, to the furry parameter. That's what line 11 is doing. We need one more. Let's do a dog, because I like dogs. Dog. And it's going to extend mammal. Now, see how this is read? Saying, hey, you need... All right, this is kind of long-winded. So, to fix this, we are going to put in a constructor. We're going to have a constructor that calls the mammal constructor with furry, right? Because the mammal constructor here needs a furry. So our dog constructor see that? I just put it in there because it knew. IntelliJ knew that we need a furry parameter. And see how the first line is not the first line is not this and called to the empty superconstructor. It's saying, here's your furry mammal, go set it. We're going to do another thing in here. We are going to, in here, we cannot access, in mammal, furry is private. So when we extend it, we can't touch it. I cannot touch furry. Can't do it. Oh, it's wrong furry. Let's call it new furry. I want to give it a different name to make a point. All right. So we're getting a parameter in called new furry, and we're passing it up to the superconstructor. The actual private variable in the superclass is furry. We cannot access it. I don't know if you're colorblind or not, but this furry here is red. And if I put my mouse over it, we see this warning. It says, furry has private access in mammal. We can't touch it because it's private up there. But what is not private in mammal, what's protected, is saying. So in dog, we're going to set saying to saying equals bow wow. Okay? The point is that we are allowed to access protected variables in subclasses. We cannot access private variables in subclasses. Okay? Let's go back to mammal and let's do something with these two, this furry and saying. Let's do this. Let's create a method, public void is furry. Let's do a system out. does the mammal have fur? Answer is furry. Okay. Oh, by the way, in dog, what did we say dog was? Oh, when we knew it up, we're going to say it's furry. Let's not pass furry into here. Let's change this to true. So dog is just going to say super true. It's going to pass true up to the mammal, and mammal, it's going to set furry to true. Back to mammal in this method. Is it furry? For a dog, it's going to be true because we pass it up to the super constructor and we set it here. Let's do another method. Public void speak. And let's do a sysout on whatever the saying is. All right? So that right now in mammal, the saying is nothing. So we're going to see nothing here. It's going to be an empty string. But in dog, when somebody calls it, the saying is going to be bow wow. Last thing I want to do in dog is I want to, let's say, private string breed. And let's make them set it. Let's in the constructor string, let's pass the string in breed and, ooh, let's show you something that's going to break. This dot breed equals breed. Uh-oh, doesn't like that. I mean, the reason is that the very first line of a constructor has to be the call to super. So let's move that call to super up. There we go. Now, it's cool. Now we're going to set the breed to whenever anybody news up this dog, they're going to set the breed. Mammal has the is furry method, the speak method. Dog, let's give dog a method. Public void what breed? Sysout breed is breed. Yeah, works for me. All right, back to this. Back to animal. Not main. Animal has a sysout that I'm in the animal constructor. Vertebrae has a sysout that it's in the vertebrae constructor. Mammal has a sysout I'm in the mammal constructor. Dog needs a sysout. I am in dog constructor. Now what happens is, in main here, when we new up a dog, all right, let's do this. Dog equals new dog. My God, dyslexic. And we got to give it a breed. Collie maybe? Okay. Now what happens is that calls the dog constructor. The dog constructor, the first thing the dog constructor does is it calls its super constructor in mammal. The first thing mammal does, which isn't in here, is it calls, first line is its call to its super constructor. It's there behind the scenes if you don't type it in. All right, so its super constructor is vertebrae. Vertebrae's first call in its constructor is its call to super. And animal, its constructor, it calls super. So then what's going to happen is this. This is pretty cool. When we new up a dog, it says, okay, go new up the mammal first. Go new up the vertebrae. Go new up the... It's going to go to objects constructor. When objects constructor is done running, it's going to come back into the animal constructor. So animal calls super, goes to the objects constructor, and then we're going to see this system out. I'm in the animal constructor. Then it's going to return, and we're going to see this system out. I'm in the vertebrate, and it's going to return, and we're going to see I'm in mammal, and then we're going to return and see I'm in dog. So let's go ahead and run main. Oh, now well, let's run it, and then we'll add some method calls. And there it is. In animal constructors, the first thing that's printed out, vertebrate constructor second, mammal third, dog fourth. All right, so dog, let's call some methods, dog dot, oh, by the way, this is what's nice about an IDE. Dog is a reference to a dog object. When I type dog and I hit dot, I get a choice of all the things I can do to that reference. What I want to call is furry. Do that again. Dog dot what breed, and dog dot speak. Let's move what breed down. Okay, furry, speak, and what breed. I can press this green arrow here. All right. Dog, does the mammal have fur? Answer is yes. And that's because in dog's constructor, it called super true. And in mammal, the constructor here it passes true to the constructor, and it says furry is true. That's how come answer is true. When it speak, it said bow wow, because in dog, we set saying to bow wow, and we can access the saying variable because in mammal, the saying variable is protected. All right, and last but not least, breed is collie, because in dog, when we newed it up with breed collie. We set it to the instance variable there, and we did a system out there. That is inheritance. That shows you a few different things. That the class dog is public, so main can it sees it and it can new it up, right? In dog, this method what breed is public, so main we can do a dot what breed on it because it's public and it can be seen. And we also saw in mammal on line 6 that the furry boolean is private. The only piece of code that knows about, that can touch, that can do anything with that boolean variable is the mammal class because it's private to mammal. But the protected saying variable is visible by the class that extends this class, which is dog.